Hello, our team has four members, Thu Ngọc Anh, Phương Thao, and Vinh. We are group three from 204. Our topic today is impact of advertising on price change. What we intend to do is to divide our research into three parts. The first part is introduction. The second part, discussion. And in this discussion part, we divided into smaller part. 2.1, the debate over advertising. We get to know about the critic and the defense of advertising. 2.2, how advertising affected prices relate to the demand. We get to know about the determinants of the price elasticity of demand and how advertising affected price relate to the demand. And 2.3, how advertising affected prices relate to the government. And the last part is conclusion. First, the introduction. Since the early 20th century, there have been a lot of studies related to advertising. And researchers have shown that advertising has far-reaching effects on many aspects of business, especially in the matter of pricing. The impact of advertising varies depending on the type of marketing. But in this study, we only look at the monopolistic competition. In monopolistic competition, the goal of advertising is to make sure that the market is under control and hopefully allows business to charge a higher price on their products. When marginal revenue equals marginal cost, the monopolistic competitive company maximizes profit. The demand curve of a monopolistic competitive company is downward sloping, indicating that it will charge a price that exceeds marginal cost. However, in monopolistic competition, the firm faces a comparatively elastic demand, and this limits the prices that can be charged on the product. Besides, the government may wish to regulate monopolies to protect the interests of consumers through price capping, limiting the price increase, as monopolies have the market power to set prices higher than in competitive markets. For the above reason, in this study, we will focus on analyzing and clarifying two main aspects: the impact of advertising, which is related to the demand, and the restriction of the government. Let's get into the discussion. 2.1, the debate over advertising. The debate over advertising. Is advertising beneficial to economic competition? Is the advertisement being utilized correctly? And we will discuss both sides of the argument in the first part of our report. First, the critique of advertising. Critic claimed that advertising stifles competition. They condemn advertisements that are just intended to manipulate people's taste and tend to make an impact on consumer psychology rather than providing information. Let's consider a typical television commercial for a brand of soft drink. The commercial most likely does not inform the viewers about the pricing or the quality. Instead, it depicts a group of happy people at a beach. All the people have soft drink in their hands, and the commercial's purpose is to send a message. You too can have many friends and be happy if you drink our beverage. Advertisement critics believe that such commercials develop a demand that would not otherwise exist. Secondly, the defense of advertising. People who advocate for advertising claim that businesses are using advertising as a way to offer information to their customers. By using advertisement, firms can inform their customers about the pricings of goods for sales, the availability of new products, and the locations of retail establishments. This kind of information enables customers to make better purchasing decisions and, as a result, improves markets' capacity to allocate resources efficiently. Advocates also believe that advertising encourages competitiveness. Thus, each business has less market power. Therefore, advertising makes it easier for new enterprises to enter the market since it provides newcomers with a way to acquire clients for current firm. For the next part of our research, I would like to invite Thu.
Thanks, Phương Thảo, for inviting me. So the second part of our discussion is how advertising affects price related to the demand. But before we go into details, let's find out the determinants of the price elasticity of demand. The price elasticity of demand is a measure of how much the quantity demanded of a good respond to a change in the price of that good. Consumers' reaction to changing prices determines whether demand response to price changes is elastic or inelastic. So what variables impact the price elasticity of demand? There are 5 factors. The first consideration is number and proximity of substitute products or service. For firms with monopolistic power, such as oil and electricity, an advertising strategy is frequently unneeded since consumer demand remains stable regardless of price changes. Firms with competitors, on the other hand, strive to differentiate their products via advertising programs. The proportion of income spent on products or service is a second contributor. A lower elasticity tends to be seen when there is a small portion of total expenditure spent on products or service, as consumers have less trouble accepting the additional expenditure when price increase. For instance, salt and pepper. The third element that needs to be analyzed is the luxury or necessity of the products or service. Products and services that are necessary tend to be more inelastic since they are utilized to meet a consumer's fundamental requirements, even if costs rise. In contrast, luxury items are more elastic because purchases may be deferred in the future. Toothpaste, for example, is a need, whereas dozy jewelry is a luxury. The fourth component is the level of addiction to products and service. Habit-forming products are inelastic since they meet the needs of consumer. For example, cigarettes and alcoholic beverage are addictive goods. The final factor is the time that a consumer needs in order to adapt to the change in price. The longer the time is, the more elastic the demand is, as consumers have more time to modify their purchasing habits. Demand curves are most likely to be elastic in competitive markets like electronic products and clothing. Next, Ngọc Anh will talk about how advertising affected price related to the demand.
Thank you, Tucha, for inviting me. So now we will move on the next part, how advertising affected price related to the demand. So on the one hand, advertising may attract consumer to see goods as more distinct than they would without. It's conveyed to the customers that the firm's products are distinct from their substitutes and present their goods as a need. Hence, as advertising creates preference for some brands over others, customer, especially in the brand loyal customer, seem to be more willing to pay, even in a higher price, for those preferred brands. By utilizing the first and the third factors that we mentioned before, firms use advertising to make consumers less concerned about the price differences between identical items and therefore making demand for a certain brand less elastic. As a result, advertising draws more people's attention to a company's products or service and enhance their desire to buy it. Advertisement can also remove any gap in customer knowledge and acquaint them with new information about the products or service. The most items and services on the market, such as kitchen appliances or vehicles, cannot be reviewed by consumers until they are purchased. Therefore, if it is the case, markets will become less competitive and companies' demand curve will become less elastic, causing firms to increase the price. To be more specific, as shown in the Exhibit 1, the demand curve following an advertising campaign shifts to the right and price become less elastic. According to the graph, when advertising is utilized, it had a direct impact on the product's price and quantity. Advertising provides them an opportunity to not only raise their product's price, but also increase the quantity, so despite how much change in price. In addition, consider the case when the price of the product rises dramatically, yet buyers continue to purchase product at the same amount as previously or more, regardless of whether a product's price is high or low. People continue to desire it and their purchasing pattern remain consistent. In a study of how the prices and advertising are related, Faris and Rapston demonstrate in Exhibit 2 that firms with high quality items charge higher relative prices for the added quality, but they command the highest prices when having both high quality and high advertising levels. Businesses with low quality and low advertising, whereas charge the lowest price. If businesses think their products are of better quality and advertise at a higher level than the competition, they will charge an average of 6.5% higher prices than their competitors. As a result, only quality does not allow a company to fetch the same price as a quality conveyed to customers. On the other hand, advertising makes the firm's price elasticity of demand curve more elastic. First, by making it easier for customers to choose businesses that provide the greatest pricing, it would increase the market competition, resulting in reduced pricing. With advertising, consumers have more information by which to evaluate the substitute goods. As you can see, Exhibit 3, by causing the demand curve to become more price elastic, advertising is expected to lower price. Another way of advertising is called non-price advertising, which is to lower the price through promotions, marketing, or coupon, in which organizations' goods or services are frequently priced higher than those of rivals. This is used by a lot of significant companies such as Reebok, Nike, Adidas. To be specific, Adidas items have an average price from $150 to $200 in a year. On holidays like Christmas or New Year Eve, Adidas usually have different big promotions. And so next part, which is the next factor, advertising will affects the price will present by Vinh.
Okay, so as we mentioned before, advertising provides firms an opportunity to raise their price in order to return their revenue. In this case, advertising makes the demand curve more elastic by increasing the product's price. It is the observation that companies investing more in advertising also charge through higher price that arouse the interest in the impact of advertising on price. Consumers are willing to purchase extra for a variety of reasons, such as including promotion, improved product quality, better packaging, a better user experience, market position, and so on. To understand more about how advertising affects price related to the demand, let's take a look at figure 1. It depicts the effect of raising the advertising stock reliable for brand on toothpaste by 20%. As we can see, advertising raised demand at any price, meaning that it raised willingness to pay. At the same time, advertising flattens the demand curve, since willingness to pay rose more among customers whose willingness to pay was previously relatively low. As a result, this simulation clearly demonstrates how advertising may improve willingness to pay while decreasing price elasticity of demand. And we come to the next part of our video, which is how advertising affected price related to the government. It is said that the price of product is also affected by government policy. In detail, it depends on whether the advertising is run in the region that restrict the advertising or not. In the 1960s, there was a lot of diversity across states in terms of the legal status of eyeglass advertising. There were no limits in some states, while others outlawed price advertising but permit non-price advertising, and yet others forbid all advertising. When comparing pricing across states, Benham discovers that prices were lower in states with no limitation than in states where all advertising was forbidden. And that brings us to the end of our video. In conclusion, we fully hope that the results of our research can help businesses better understand the impact of advertising on price change, and that our research could serve as a prototype of future projects. Thank you for listening.